Hello and welcome back. You find me in the lanes, and yeah, the sun is setting over the yard arm and it's going to be cold and it's going to be dark pretty soon. I'm in the lanes for a purpose. I'm going to try and retrieve a fox skull. It's a fox that's succumbed to a road traffic accident, what I can deduce, and I want to retrieve the skull and see. I've never done anything like this before. Every time I've picked up a skull or bones, it's been through natural processes like sun bleaching and things like that. But I'm going to try and take this skull and try and preserve it. So I've got to get to the carcass, and it's just been basically, it looks like it's been placed into the field. Somebody might have hit it and then got out, inspected their car, and then just threw the carcass or the animal just over the hedge, so to speak. Or it obviously got hit and driver carried on, you know, and it just managed to crawl a few meters before succumbing to its injuries. In either case, it's been there and it's been rotting away for weeks and weeks. So a lot of the work for you know, getting this skull meated, I suppose, or the flesh has already been done through natural processes like other animals eating it. There's no flies or maggots, it's too cold. What is actually on the skull, I've obviously been doing a little bit of research how I can clean that up. I'm not particularly looking forward to this part of it all. I've got a clear vision of this perfectly white, beautiful skull, you know, mounted. But before I get there, I've got all the nasty side of it, I suppose. But first job is I've got to make sure it's still there, and then I've got to try and get the skull separated from the rest of the carcass. I'm not going to be graphic. I'm not going to make a big deal about this, but I just thought I'd record this just for prosperity, really, and to log it so I can look back on this in many years to come. The fox in question, I do believe it is a young adult male, and it's got a perfectly formed skull, all the teeth, and it would have been an impressive young fox. And if it was left to its natural life cycle, I should imagine, I've just got tangled up with Bracken. He's pulling me around. I just had to untangle myself. Yeah, if it was left to its natural life cycle, I should imagine it would have been an impressive fox to see stalking the hedgerows. But these things happen, road traffic accidents, and this time of year with all the baby rabbits, the foxes here go into kind of like a frenzy, and you'll see them running across roads without even, you know, with no care, a total abandonment. They're literally in a frenzy to get the young rabbits. It's probably because they're getting ready to start their breeding cycle themselves. But yeah, it is an impressive skull. Now a lot of the flesh has, you know, been removed naturally through the natural processes. It does look quite impressive. I've kind of tied Bracken off because obviously I don't want him interfering with me or the carcass. So he's tied off safely, and I'm just going to come back here. And I did actually think that it was gone. Somebody must have disposed of it. But it is here. And as you can see, it's not looking too pretty. But that's the skull. And it might not look that good at the moment. But the other day, it did actually have, I had a good view. The grass has really grown up around it. But yeah, I'm going to go and have a quick little examination. . there isn't that much smell anymore. It's pretty much gone. There's not a lot of meat, but I should imagine if, you know, me messing about with it, I'll probably get a bit of a smell. But like I said, where I'm going at the skull end, a lot of that is already decayed to the point, you know, there's not a lot of meat on it. I have come prepared. I've got a pair of secateurs, and I'm going to have a little look. I'm going to get my hiking stick and try to separate it, so I'm not messing with any of this unpleasantness here. But anyway, I'll get my hiking stick. You can see I've got my hiking stick here now, and yeah, let's get to this. It's not going to be pleasant, and I don't want to mess around too much with it. But there's not really a lot holding it together, to be honest with you. Like I say, if I can leave some of this fur and everything behind, in fact, it's got quite tough here. I can see already one of the main teeth, I'm not quite sure, incisor I suppose you'd call it, one's longer than the other. I have to try and hold the actual, it's gone a bit like leather. Well, there, I've got it there, but unfortunately it's brought a load of the actual stuff with it. Yeah, I've got it all, the jawbone and the actual complete skull. I haven't damaged any of the teeth. There's no real flesh on it. It's just like it's gone to leather. As you can see, I'm going to have to get this cleaned up. Not going to be a thoroughly pleasant task. So there's not really a lot to see. It's not as macabre as you'd think, but obviously there's insects here, you know, picking over what's left over. But as you can see by the skull here, one of the teeth is slightly larger than the other one. But like, I'll get this cleaned up and get this home. We're losing light, but you can clearly see that this was quite an impressive fox just by that. It would have, like I said, if it was able to do its complete life cycle, I'm no doubt this would be substantially bigger as well. Right then, there you go. Let's pick it up. And it does weigh actually a fair bit there actually. And let's get it in this bag. I'll put it all in there. That's done, it's completely salvaged now. I'll tie that off now. Well, I've got the actual secateurs in a dog poo bag. Obviously I don't want to contaminate my bag with any unpleasantness, and obviously the skull is in a dog poo bag itself and a black bin liner. And I'm going to finish my dog walk and then go home, and it'll probably be tomorrow morning I'm going to start working out how I go about preserving this. But Bracken sat there, he wants to go now, and like I said, the sun is just setting over the hill now. In my years out and about in the countryside, I've come across some sizable foxes, as I guess probably a lot of people who spend their time in the countryside have also. You know, it's, you know, quite a lot of, you know, legends and a bit like fishermen who talk about the size of the fish. I'm tangled up here again. Fishermen who talk about the size of the fish they've caught, you know, every once in a while a big fish will be landed, and you know, it goes down as part of you know, legend, and you know, people talking about it, and was it true, wasn't it true, but ultimately sometimes you do actually get proof. I think I've said before, as a young man I used to actually do a bit of hunting. Unpopular subject now, but I did it. I was a child of the time, or a young man of the time, and where I actually used to do a lot of the hunting, my sole purpose to be allowed on the ground was foxes. Now, why foxes, you may ask? It's a straightforward answer. It was a chicken farm and they did keep ducks free range. Hence, they were more than happy to allow me to go on their ground shooting. They weren't too enthused about me shooting rabbits or any other vermin or game. It was simply foxes they wanted me to deal with. And I had one encounter with a fox there that still sticks in my mind. Basically, I wasn't having a lot of luck, but I did see this really big, fat, juicy rabbit just down on it was over an old railway line. Now, I went down creeping and crawling and going in and out of all the gorse bushes to where I got to the point I could actually take a shot at this rabbit. Now, the reason I was going for this rabbit, even though I wasn't really supposed to, was because I kept ferrets, and I thought this would keep my ferrets going for a long time. But as I brought my shotgun, it was a single barrel shotgun, to the shoulder, I saw something creeping along the hedge above me. So I lowered my barrel and I just hunkered down, and I saw this shadow, and as it came a bit closer, it obviously was a fox. I could see by the colour, but it was a real big one, a real big dog one, and possibly the biggest one I've ever seen. Anyway, it came down above me, and it was actually going after the same rabbit. It had spotted it coming in the opposite direction, and he was stalking on the higher ground to come down to it. Now, I did actually bring my gun up to bear on this fox, and you know, I was, all intents and purposes, going to take the shot. But as he came down, he got so far down the bank and was getting ready, lined up on this rabbit. And this rabbit, all the time this was going on, he was oblivious. He was just munching away on this grass and on the dandelions, and having, you know, what he considered a lovely lunch. But yeah, I had the gun to my shoulder, was going to take the shot, but I just couldn't do it. And he then clocked me, and we spent that few seconds eye to eye contact. He froze and was looking at me in my eye, and I was looking at him, and it was quite a moment actually, and it seemed to get tangled up again. It seemed to go on for a long time, but ultimately I lowered my gun, and as I lowered it, he'd come to his senses and he scampered back off, and as I turned around, the rabbit seen the fox move and he was gone as well. But it was quite a magical moment. It sticks in my mind quite simply because we were stalking the same rabbit. We had that moment where we were just looking at each other's eyes, and he kind of froze and I was frozen with the beauty of looking at him. But there was that situation when I realised I came away empty-handed, but it didn't matter because it was just a moment you get when you are out in the field hunting, and you know, and it's always stuck with me. But the other thing is the size of him. He was huge. He was huge. No phones, and I didn't actually have the fox. I didn't shoot the fox to have proof, but I'll always remember it. Absolutely stunning fox, you know, primarily just for his actual physique and size. Right, I hope I didn't upset too many people, you know, with me retrieving that skull. I've documented it not to be sensational, just pretty much, you know, in years to come I can look back and, you know, basically just it's a documentary to what I've done here. I have had other skulls, like I've said, and bones over the years, but like I said, it's been more of a natural thing, and I have no idea how I go about cleaning this and preserving it. So it's going to be a process I'm going to do. I'm not going to take you along on that because obviously it's possibly not the most pleasant of things, you know, what I'm going to deal with later on. But yeah, I just wanted to document it, and this is Andy from Hidden Valley Footpaths. You've probably got better things to do and watch me retrieve a dead fox's skull. But yeah, all the best, and I hope to catch you guys out on the trail.